there's been a lot of sad
That I'm working in.
Okay.
Plans and helplessness.
That's my
And I was like, okay.
Welcome to another installment of Leadership Landscape TV, where we go inside the minds of local community leaders and allow them a chance to offer some keen insights into how they see themselves and, most importantly, explore just what makes them tick. I'm Kurt Jacobs, host of Leadership Landscape TV, where previous interviews have showcased leaders from the world of politics, religion, sports, community activism, and civic engagement. Today, our 182nd guest is Joey Wagner. He's the owner of J. Wagner Group and DerbyVIP.com. Now, for those of you who don't know our guest, allow me to read some of Joey's bio. Joey has been changing the game of event planning for 16 plus years. An expert in marketing and promotions, Joey is the owner of J. Wagner Group. You may have attended some of his events or read about them in publications like the Wall Street Journal, US Weekly, In Touch, Maxim, and Life and Style magazines. J. Wagner Group is no stranger to notoriety because Joey has hosted some of the largest charity and celebrity events in the Louisville area and Midwest region. As an undergraduate in Morehead State, Joey played on the school's baseball and golf teams before earning his master's in sports administration and marketing. He's a Louisville native with national connections as evidenced by his work with the Super Bowl, NBA All-Star Weekend, Indianapolis 500, Breeders' Cup, Sugar Bowl, PGA Championship, and the Ryder Cup. J. Wagner Group also has active partnerships with Churchill Downs, Boxcar PR, Breeders' Cup, U of L Athletics, Petrino Family Foundation, Maker's Mark, Kentucky Derby Festival, Signature Healthcare, Red Bull, Bacardi USA, and Brown Forman, just to name a few. He also owns Aventress, an event planning firm, Appleseed Promo, a promotional item company, and has two major concepts that he does across the country, Jock Tales and Pink Prom. Jock Tales, a celebrity charity bartending event, and Pink Prom, a 21 and over prom theme event that raises money for breast cancer awareness. Wagner is also the official fan MC for the University of Louisville men's basketball team. However, the biggest event in Joey's life is his family. Joey and his wife Nikki have two children, Jaden and Chloe. They reside in Louisville. Joey, it is a true pleasure to have you on Leadership Landscape TV and in one spot.
Thank you for having me. I
Thanks for
appreciate
being
it.
here, man. You've done quite a bit in a short amount of time. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I have, man. And it's been humbling. I just every day just try to see what we can do next.
That's great. Well, what drives you to excel in this area of event promotion or event planning? Where did you kind of feel it as a younger person?
You know, it all started back in college. You know, I was playing two sports, and you know, and I still wanted to have fun on the weekends and go see my friends in Lexington or back home in Louisville, and obviously that cost money. And so I literally started just, you know, DJing at a bar in college, and just to make some extra money in the week to be able to do some fun stuff. And you know, I just loved the, you know, I had a passion of just planning an event from A to Z, and you know, and trying to get people there to show up, and it just kind of snowballed. And you know, once I graduated Morehead and moved back to Louisville, I gave it a shot, and you know, 15 years later, I'm still here. So
that's awesome, man.
It's been a roller coaster.
What has been the more challenging aspect of an event? Because you know, I'm sure you have a list, and you know, the bigger and more visible it gets, the bigger team you have. What's kind of been the pattern you see where things can go right or wrong?
Well, obviously nowadays it's so much different than when I originally started because of social media.
Right.
The marketing side has changed. You know, when I was young, 21 years old, I was out in the streets flying cars and you know, and just meeting people and telling them about our events and inviting them and stuff like that. And nowadays, the power of technology, from social media to text messages to email to, you know, email database systems, it's a lot easier for me to get the message out to people about our events. Obviously, you know, back in the day when we did smaller events, they weren't as hard to where now the bigger events we have are the bigger budgets, and you know, you have to try to find sponsors to help pay for those budgets.
More planning.
Yeah, so the bigger I've got, the bigger the events have got. So there is more time and more planning, and you know, more money coming through on the budgets and more risk. So, but we've done a really, really good job, and you know, the harder we work, the easier it is to get with these events.
Whom do you credit most influential in your life, Joey? And it could be more than one, personal or professional.
You know, obviously my parents, I mean, you know, they instilled in me to work hard. You know, obviously those are the two that, you know, I go to first, you know, outside of my wife now, to bounce off of those ideas of what they think. And, you know, and they've been there supporting me through the good and the bad from day one. And, you know, they've been a tremendous help. Obviously my wife now, she's been awesome, and you know, and giving me the positive feedback and the honest feedback. And then, you know, just through the years, I've had, you know, some great mentors and people that I've really been able to learn from, that's helped me get to where I am today.
What do you consider to be the most defining moment of your life, Joey? And again, it can be more than one, personal or professional.
Yeah, I mean, obviously personal, I have 2 children, and, the children are what drives me today. I mean, every day I wake up, obviously, what can I do next? But at the same time, I have to be able to put together successful events and successful businesses because I have to support my family, obviously. So every single day, that's my goal, is to make sure I have them taken care of. And also, just making sure we do the right thing. So as far as professional, my family, of course, I mean, personal, but I think as professional, it's the longevity. The longevity means a lot to me because the average lifetime of an event planner, promoter, or whatever you want to call them is 2 or 3 years. We've done this, or I've done this for almost 17 years now. So that's probably the most important thing to me, is that the success and the longevity that I've been able to pull off for this long a time through our, through our events.
And what I've noticed as a fellow Louisvillian is, and this is a compliment, you've matured.
100%.
Your brand and your image has matured as you've matured in the business, which I think was very savvy on your part to do.
Yeah, I had to. And, I started off as, a young 21-year-old kid. And, and now I'm 36 years old, married with 2 kids. And, I've gone from the bar stuff and the nightclub stuff and the restaurant stuff to now, planning events for Fortune 500 companies. And,
big difference.
As I evolve, the company evolves. And that's my main focus is, is to really, really focus on different than when it was when I was younger. It's totally different now.
Sure. What is the biggest professional triumph of your career, Joey? It could be more than one, personal or professional.
Yeah, obviously, professional wise, is my philosophy in the event planning is that putting together good events. And when I say good events, I always have this philosophy, and I will always stand by it, is that when I put together an event, I want the consumer or the customer to walk in and they have that wow factor and they have a great experience. I'm such an experienced guy because customer service, and I want them to have that good experience.
Right.
But an achievement for me is that when they walk out, they had such a good time, they can't wait to come back to the next. I think me gaining more corporate clients has been very, very important to me. My relationship with University of Louisville Athletics has been amazing, and I was part of that basketball team that won a national championship, and that was really, really cool to experience. So being able, and my relationship now and working with Boxcar PR and having that relationship and getting to work with Muhammad Ali and some of our bigger clients has been pretty humbling to me, because I look at those as business achievements.
I got another question for you. How do you become the MC of the U of L men's basketball? I mean, you just don't. I mean, they don't just put an ad in the paper.
No, it's.
How does that happen?
I've always had. I got my undergraduate in media relations, like communications, and I've always had that knack of just being in front of the camera or on the microphone. And my mom and dad could tell you, I literally started like MCing baseball games when I was like 13, 14 years old, and I just always had that knack of liking to be on a microphone or stuff like that. And I think my voice comes through a microphone, and it sounds from the feedback that I've got, really well. And it's crazy how, like building my relationship with up at U of L over the past, 7 or 8 years, they just came to me and they asked me like, hey, we've got some new ideas we're trying, and we're looking at doing, an MC during the games. Would you be interested in that? And I was like, yeah, I would. And, and at first I didn't realize how much fun it would be.
Sure.
Obviously I'm on the floor at every single basketball game, and getting to travel with the team some games and go to the Final Four and experience that, and kind of you feel like you're part of the team. And being able to work with the athletic department, I mean, they're like a family to me now. I mean, Tom Jurich is a mentor to me now, and being able to he's the best, and be able to work with him through my MC job and through my relationship with Boxcar has been pretty humbling.
Now, on the flip side of that, what is the biggest professional regret or disappointment you might have had?
I've been through some really, really tough experiences on losing money, but you learn from your mistakes. And I'm so glad I went through those experiences. It taught me how to not work with middlemen, and, and know the vendors that we work with, and build a personal relationship with some of those people. And, I always go back to those days of like, if I wouldn't have made that mistake, or I wouldn't have made a bad decision, I wouldn't be to where I am today. You know, I've always gone by that philosophy. You know, you learn from your mistakes, and when you make a mistake, how do you fix it, and so it never happens again. So that's definitely been something that's happened in the past that has helped me get to where I am today.
What's the best piece of advice ever given to you, Joey? Again, it can be more than one.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot. You know, I literally, you know, speaking with Junior Bridgman, you know, who's a mentor of mine, and you know, and I talked to him, and he was just like, you know, every day you wake up and you look in the mirror, you know, ask yourself, did you help someone else? You know, or every day you wake up and you look in that mirror, what did you do to better yourself? Right. And I think having that mentality every single day of how can I make myself better, how can I help other people, has been tremendous to me.
Sure.
And you know, a funny quote, I have Glenn Hogan, who's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's been on the show too.
Yeah, he gave me this quote a long time ago. He said, "Big money never sleeps."
Right.
And he said, you know, you want to have that business mentality that when you're sleeping, you're making money, and you know, and always work hard to get to where you need to be. So, you know, like I said, I've had a lot of great mentors, and being able, you know, a lot of successful people here in Louisville that's given me great advice. But I think just the biggest thing is just work hard and stay humble. You know, I'll never change. I'm always going to be humble.
Now, the show's called Leadership Landscape TV, so the obvious question is, can you define leadership in one word, Joey, in the great English lexicon, as I always like to say? It can be more than one if you need it.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, passion.
Okay.
You know, you got to have passion. You know, every single morning I wake up, if I'm not passionate about what I do, then I'm doing the wrong thing.
Right.
You know, if I don't wake up every single morning and can't wait to go to my office and can't wait to, you know, what we plan next, then I shouldn't be doing this. You gotta have that passion in every single thing you do, because if you don't have that passion with a job and you have a 9-to-5 job and you're not happy, you're never gonna get happy. So I think that you gotta have that passion every single day you wake up, to be able to do what you want to do and be successful.
If someone were to ask you this is one of those self-deprecating questions or self-aggrandizing, depending on how you interpret it. If someone was to ask you, what is the single most positive thing you feel like you've done for humanity to date, what might that be?
I think giving back.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't know about me. I mean, they see it, you know, on a lot of my events, but you know, from the events that I've either produced or been a part of or helped with, I mean, you know, I've got to be able to donate over $1 million in charity, if not more, you know, probably $1.5 million, close to 2 now. And, you know, that's the biggest thing for me. And people ask me all the time, you know, why I give back. I mean, why not? You know, I can't imagine being in some of the situations that some of these people are that we help. And so I think that's the biggest thing for me, is being able to give back. It's so important to me. As big as I grow and the more time I can have, I mean, I'm always going to give back. I mean, that's so important to me.
That's the next question I like to ask. I call it our magic wand question. If you were king for a day of the world, you could change anything in your own life or in general, what would that be?
Oh, man. You know, I wouldn't change too much. I mean, you know, being from Louisville, Kentucky, you know, that's important to me. You know, I've had so many opportunities to leave Louisville, and, you know, I want to stay here. You know, I want to make my city better, and I want to, and to raise my kids in Louisville. So I don't know how much I would change. You know, I might have made some different decisions in business and different things like that, but I don't know. If I had a magic wand, I'd make derby all year round. I think that'd be cool.
Would you now? You have night derby, day derby?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I love it. So could you describe in particular detail a scenario or incident where you utilized your philosophy on leadership? You had mentioned passion earlier. So maybe use an example or two. It could be personal as well if you want.
Yeah, you know, our passion, you know, with me giving back. I mean, a great story that we've just recently did in the past year. I got a phone call from my sister-in-law, and she was like, hey, I saw the story on the news about a turkey shortage in the West Louisville. You know, can you help with that? And I was like, started to think about it, and you know, as soon as I got off the phone with her, my brain started clicking, and I was like, you know what? I can't imagine not having Thanksgiving dinner, or let alone having food on the table.
Right.
So I was like, I have to do something. So me having a pretty big social network, and you know, I called Jason Brown, one of my business partners with Adventurous, and I said, hey, I want to do this crazy idea of collecting 100 turkeys in 8 hours. And I said, I want to put together this like whole media campaign called Turkey Stock, give it a cool little name, build some hype around it, and I want to like literally just blow it up. So I contacted Kentucky Harvest, who was on the news article, and I contacted Gilbert from WDRB, who did the story, and I said, hey, I saw your story. You
Yeah.
know, I've got this crazy idea. We want to raise, collect 100 turkeys in 8 hours. Jason owns Brownie the Shed, so we had a good hub of where we could do it. We called Cisco, got a frozen truck, and I got our graphic designer at Boxcar to help us out with some graphics for social media, and we literally just blasted it out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and it literally snowballed. And so many people called me to help. And we literally, from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., collected over 500 turkeys.
So that's what, 100,
yeah,
80
so
an hour roughly?
It was over 500 turkeys. It was, 1,000 canned goods. I mean, companies like Walmart reached out to us, donated us 200 turkeys, and so many people reached out to us, and it was so humbling to be able to, it's like a crazy idea I came up with and I put together. And we actually, so the first year was a huge success.
Yeah.
We did it again,
Great.
This year, and
Awesome.
we got 450 turkeys this year with the turkey shortage. Supposedly there was a turkey shortage, so we've done
Turkeys
it.
got wind of your call.
I guess. So to be able to do that,
Yeah,
and now we've been able to feed over 350, 400 families for Thanksgiving,
awesome.
And that is just is for me is humbling.
This is a good time, I think, to ask this question. If someone asked you, what does Joey Wagner stand for, what would you tell them? Not what they might say about you, but what would you tell them?
I think hardworking. I get all the time from people, how do you do so much? Or how do you keep up with this? And, and how do you do family and work and stuff, and it's tough. I work in a business where it's not really 9 to 5.
No, I mean, most of your stuff starts after 7, 8 o'clock at night, I'm guessing.
For me, it's 7 days a week,
stuff.
And I think I've done a really, really good job now that that I'm married and have kids. I have to be able to put family first and make time for my daughter who has cheerleading and my son who plays baseball, and I help coach his baseball team. And so that's important to me because if I don't have the family, I'm not going to be successful in the business. And it's flip side. And then I need to be successful in the business to make sure I take care of the family. So that's definitely been a challenging part of my job, but I have to make it work.
Now, this next question I want to ask you, and you kind of touched upon it with social media earlier. Do you think there's a difference today in event planners, the business, and the people that are in it than when you got in it in the beginning?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the events have changed so much, and there's so many events in Louisville, and the philosophy that I've always had is that I'm an outside the box guy. So I want my events to be different. I don't want it to be the normal charity event. I don't want it to be the normal special event. I don't want it to be the normal, celebrity event. Like, I want it to be different. And I think that what we've done in our events is be different, from the lighting to the sound to the decor to taking a venue you might have been in the weekend before at a wedding, and then you're at our event a week later and it looks totally different and you don't feel like you're in that same venue. But the event planning on the concept is never going to change. You have to get people there. In our business, to get people there to make money, one, you have to get people there to your event. But now for me it's changed because my events are bigger. So like we've got back to where the budgets, the budgets are more. So I have to have sponsors. And I think we've done a really good job on the return on investment for our sponsors because we've got them a good demographic of what they're looking for. And if, without sponsors, it's hard to make money in this business, 100%.
There's so many events, and then to differentiate yourself and grow awareness and get the audience and build it. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to bring this up because I'd be remiss if I didn't. I love this In Focus cover. What was it like shooting with them? You're about the third or fourth guest we've had that's been a guest or a cover.
It was cool. It was an honor to be that. Some of my events were named in that issue as the best parties of the year in Louisville, and
awesome.
that was a fun photo shoot. They kind of wanted to go after the mixing the charity angle dressed up in a tuxedo, but then throwing the microphone because of the MC stuff that I do. But it was cool. It was fun. It was that the In Focus is a great publication because it's. For me, it's from when I changed, it's like the older, the upscale, the more professional network, and to be able to be on the cover it was awesome.
Now I'm going to blow through some because you've got tons of pictures. I'm just going to hold them up and then you say what's going on. Here's the Miss Kentucky team.
Yeah, that was another extension of me being an MC. It was really cool. I got to MC the Miss Kentucky pageant one year. That was awesome.
So this is Kate Upton. Where are you guys?
Yeah, I was at the Breeders' Cup.
Awesome.
They're one of my biggest clients, and I got to go to the Breeders' Cup and basically help them with celebrity hospitality and sponsor hospitality. So getting to work with Kate was really cool.
And for those that might know, Kate, what's she done?
Yeah, she's cover. She's been on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
I know,
so,
exactly. I was going to let you say it, not me. This was the one from earlier.
Yep.
So this is Jocktails. This is one of your bigger events that you've.
Jocktails is my baby.
What's the story there? That's,
so
what's the backstory quickly on that?
I had seen some events in the past, like celebrity servers or celebrity bartending, and Jocktails is our celebrity charity bartending event that we do all over the country now. We started with it being in the horse racing events, obviously with jockeys, but then we were like, what's an athlete? An athlete is a jock. Right. So now we have this concept we've done at the Breeders' Cup, Kentucky Derby, Super Bowl, Indy 500. We've done it with professional teams like the Buffalo Bills, Cleveland Browns.
Sweet.
We're doing our first PGA Tour event. So, I mean, it's really, really cool because sponsors love that concept because the consumer and the sponsors get to interact with an NFL player or a jockey that they're getting to see at a game. Exactly. And that's why that concept has grown so quick because, once again, it's a different event.
Right.
You don't get to network with a Buffalo Bills player up close serving you cocktails or a Kentucky Derby winning jockey like Victor Espinoza. You get to see those guys at the racetrack riding horses or playing on Sundays. So to be able to have an interaction with them and it has a charity angle to it to be able to raise money for charity has been awesome. So yeah, Jocktails is my baby and I just want to keep making that one grow.
That's why I want to bring it up. Now, you've arrived when your high school put you in the Hall of Fame. Athletic, I think, Hall of Fame, was it?
That was awesome, yeah. I just got honored, my high school, Fern Creek, here in Louisville. I got honored for the Athletic Hall of Fame for playing baseball and golf.
So, and since you MC, you can get access to the floor at the U of L men's basketball. It's your little guy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's me and my little man, Jaden. So
awesome, man. I bet he's happy.
He gets to be a ball boy every year. That's kind of the perks of his dad.
That is the perk, isn't it? Don't you like that? I know this guy. We've had him as a guest, J.K. McKnight.
J.K. McKnight, good friend of mine. What he's done with that Forecastle Festival brand is amazing. And, not only are we good friends, he's somebody I look up to, especially in business because, he came from nothing.
Sure.
And now he's built a successful brand.
Do you all have any involvement with him on that?
No, I never have. I like to support him. He supports me in my events. I support him in his events. And
enough to go around for everybody, and this guy needs no introduction.
Nah, he's the man.
That's awesome. Now, what event was that? Muhammad Ali?
That was the Muhammad Ali Awards we did with Boxcar.
Sweet.
And me growing up a Muhammad Ali fan,
man.
Now being able to work with him at Boxcar has been awesome.
So at least you have a reason to wear this brown, wonderful jacket. Explain what's going on here with the governor.
I am on the board of the Kentucky Derby Festival. That has been another great achievement for me because, this will be, I've done 17 derbies now. So being able to be on the Derby Festival and hang out with my good friend, Governor Bashir, it was awesome.
Awesome, man. This guy doesn't need much of an introduction. Mayor Fisher.
Mentor, yeah. He's an entrepreneur just like me, and he's another guy. We have a great relationship. We text a lot. He's a guy that I can bounce ideas off of and, get his feedback. He's turned into a really good friend.
I don't know if this looks like an outdoor event, but that's Russ Smith, right?
Yeah, that was after we won the national championship. I was interviewing Russ and Luke at a football game, and that was pretty crazy because I'm sitting there emceeing in front of 65,000 people at the first football game of the year. And that was right after we won the national championship. And talking about loud, it got really, really loud after I interviewed Russ.
So he's so good at events, he draws in the celebs. And tell the audience who this is.
Yeah, that's Vicki Gunnelson. She was on a reality show. She came into Derby one year. That's been a really, really cool aspect of my job is that because of the Derby and what I do, I've gotten to be friends with a lot of celebrities and they get to come in that weekend and we make sure they have a good time.
I got you. And I thought I'd give you a shout out with your logos. I like the JW group or J and the W mixed together for J Wagner Group, and then the Derby VIP, the red, white, and blue. Did you help with the design? You design them?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I will always be hands-on with. I'm really, really hands-on with graphic design because that's your product. That's what's going out. And DerbyVIP.com is my newest company. We've done Derby. So we've done Derby for so long that we've always done what DerbyVIP.com does now, but now we turn it into a business. And DerbyVIP.com is a full-service concierge service at the Derby weekend, and we do everything from car rentals, SUVs, private security.
You're a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. We don't do anything with no Derby tickets, but we just do house rentals
that would be interesting.
Access to the best parties, et cetera, et cetera. So Derby's never going to go away. So I wanted to invest my time and money back into a company that was going to always be around, and that's one of the ones that's also a main focus of mine right now.
Well, thank you for sharing those pictures, and there's
Thanks.
a lot more of this guy on the internet. Just want you guys to know, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this next question I love to ask because it gives me a little insight into you, and you're driving your own bus, as I always say to a lot of our guests, because you're entrepreneurial. If you gave yourself 2 weeks, right today, no technology, 14 days, 10 calendars, 10 business days, 14 calendar days, where do you go? Who do you take with you? What do you do?
Obviously, for me, the most important thing in my life is family and friends. You know, you've got to have great family and friends. So if I had to do it for 2 weeks, you know, obviously I would take one of those weeks and just spend it with my wife and my 2 kids and my family. That's the most important. And being able to experience those things with my kids now is so awesome. And you know, and I try not to miss the basketball games or the cheerleading competitions. You know, I try to work my schedule around so I don't have to miss that stuff, because that's stuff that you can never take away. So definitely one of those weeks with my family. And then obviously those that know me, I keep my circle small as far as my friends. And, you know, my friends I mean, I don't even call my friends friends. I call them family. So being able to spend a whole nother week, you know, without the kids, maybe, but like go on vacation, Bahamas or something like that, Las Vegas, with my friends that you can experience and share some good times with that are unforgettable. I think those would be something that I would want to do for 2 weeks.
A quick answer, more or less a yes or no. Do you feel like you're a good delegator?
I've had to. I've learned. You know, I used to be a yes, yes, yes guy. I've had to kind of turn into a no guy just because I get asked to do so much. But I'm so organized, and that's what's kind of, when you have so many companies like I do and do so many things, you have to stay organized. And I rely on my iPhone calendar 24/7. I mean, that keeps me organized on my appointments and meetings and different things I've got to do. I'm really, really big on having a to-do list. Every single day I come in the office, first thing I do in the morning is update my to-do list, and I print it out, tape it on my desk, keep it right next to my laptop, and check stuff off as we go, because I have so much stuff going on and I do so much, I don't want to forget something.
Absolutely.
So I constantly put reminders in my cell phone and my calendar of to do this or do that or pick up this, and you know, email that, email this. And you know, I think on the delegation, I've learned that a lot, to where I'm a guy that I've always had the philosophy, if I don't do it myself, it doesn't get done right. But I've also learned the hard way that I can't do everything on my own. You know, that has been a good thing on having people that I work with, my friends and coworkers that I trust, that I know that if I can't be at that event, that I've delegated enough to someone that I trust, that I know they can get a good job. It took me a long, long time to learn that, and it took me a long time to accept that. But I know that I'm not going to grow and I'm not going to be successful if I don't learn to delegate.
Absolutely. So this question I like to ask our guests: if you could have dinner alone with anyone, one person, living or dead, who would it be and why? Quickly.
Wow.
Big question for a quick answer, sorry. But.
Yeah, I mean, obviously sports, I love sports. So one that I respect in sports and also business is Michael Jordan. Growing up a fan of Michael Jordan, I mean, I wore number 23, idolizing him. And, you know, I think that for me, being successful in sports, of which I have done growing up, but now once you're done with sports, being successful in business, and he's done both of those. And I would love to be in a room with him for an hour and just pick his brain and get advice from him, and because he's turned, man, the Jordan brand is massive.
It is.
And
it is.
You know, off tennis shoes, sneakers, and merchandise. So what he's done with that brand based off the success of him on the court, he hasn't played for, what, 15, 20 years, and he's making so much money per year because he's built an empire. He's built a brand. So that's someone that I think that my passion is sports and events, so that, and you know, and building brands, and that's something that I think that, you know, him or, you know, like a Sean Combs that has gone from a musician to now a fashion mogul that has kind of became successful in one brand, but then they've also built brands. So I think Michael Jordan would definitely be one.
If you could have written a letter to your younger self, what would you have said in a sentence? Can you do it in that, roughly?
Yeah, I think listen a lot more, pay attention a lot more. You know, when you're young, you make a lot of mistakes, and I think that knowing who I am now, you know, I pay a lot more attention to detail, because, you know, everything that I do, someone is always watching, you know, and when you build your own brand and, you know, you are your own boss, you have to everything you do, you say, you have to be careful, and you have to, always, be positive, because like I said, there's always that person that's always looking at you, and you want to be a role model, and you want to be someone that is thought of being a hardworking, humble person. So that's very important.
Now, you're in the prime of your life, so this is maybe a little off-putting question, but nobody gets out of the guest seat without ever being asked this, younger or older. God forbid it all ends today, Joey. It's your last day on earth. How do you want to be remembered?
I think hardworking. That's number one. If you don't work hard, it's going to be hard to become successful. And it's been a constant grind for me, and it's been a constant hustle, and and that's what I've done. I've hustled. I've never had an investor. I've never had a business partner in J. Wagner Group. To where someone is an investor in my company as a business partner. So it's been with I've had a lot of help along the way, with different people, but I think that being able to work hard and be successful. You're not going to become successful if you don't work hard. That I can't stress that enough. And for me, and what I teach a lot of my interns and different staff and friends that I work with is that in this world, it's all about networking, and it's all about contacts, and never forget that person that you meet. Always get that person's contact, and always thank them for meeting them, and always follow up with people. I think that is something that is very, very important to me. You hear stories all the time. Well, that person never called me back, and that person emailed me back, or I didn't hear back from that person. That's somebody that I never want to be known as. Like, I will always return a phone call, always return an email, because you never know what that person can do and help you. And I think that if I always live by that philosophy, and you treat everyone with the same amount of respect, and you treat everyone the same, that I think that it's going to help a lot.
Well, Joey, keep up the great work, man. It's been quite a pleasure having you on Leadership Landscape
Thank you
TV.
for letting me have on.
I don't know who this guy is, but he kind of looks like Tom Cruise to me, but I'm just saying. Till next time, I'm Kurt Jacobs. Check us out on Facebook. Go to Leadership Landscape TV, or just go to the internet and type in Leadership Landscape TV. I'm Kurt Jacobs. Thanks for watching.